Why your beat mixes sound muddy? Producers have been hitting me up like, Brahma, help me out, man. My beat mixes always sound muddy no matter what I do, no matter what EQ I use, no matter what compressor I use, they still sound muddy. Well, the first issue is you're starting off wrong already before you even begin mixing. And when you start mixing, you miss doing this number one thing that is should be the first thing that you do before you do anything else, before you touch a fader or anything, especially your output fader. Don't worry about touching your output fader. The first fader you should touch is your input fader because you need to start gain staging. Gain staging is the number one reason why producers' beats sound distorted, they sound muddy, the drums aren't knocking, and the first thing you want to do is reach for the EQ or the compressor to fix it, but that's not going to do it. Your levels are already wrong. You got your input levels too high. Sometimes we want to just, adjust the levels on the output fader, but that doesn't fix the problem. If anything, it's going to hurt your mix even more because you're being fooled. It's an illusion. You think that, oh, if I could change how much is coming out of it, then that'll solve my distortion problem. No, the problem is you're going in all wrong. Your input levels are wrong. Now, in the digital age, most producers don't see that because if you don't come from the analog time where you had actual input levels that weren't in the box, you had outboard gear coming inside or synthesizers plugged up into a mixer, then you understood the importance of the gain, right? If your gain is too loud, it doesn't matter what you do to that output fader, that sound is still going to be distorted. You must start gain staging, okay? So I'm going to go through 3 ways that you could start doing this properly to fix the mixes of your muddy ass beats. Number 1, understand what gain staging is, right? It's not about loudness. It's really about giving your mixer or your DAW a clean signal before you go in. You want to have a clean signal going in. There was a saying back in the day, I don't know if they still say it now, but you can't polish shit, right? Even if you put syrup on shit, it don't make it pancakes. That's the same thing when it comes to this mixing. And I heard that when it came to this back in the day as a producer coming up, trying to get my beats to sound clean, the engineers would tell me that all the time. If you're coming in with a distorted signal, then you're going to have a shitty beat and the mix is going to be completely shitty no matter what effects you put on it, right? We can't throw effects at every problem and fix it. There's that term, we can fix it in the mix. Yes, but only if the signal is clean. So you want to get your signal clean, making sure it's consistent, right? And you got to think of it as like volume hygiene, cleaning up the dirt before you even get started with the mixing process, making sure that you're coming in the right way. So plugins, so your sounds, when I say plugins right now, I'm talking about like your synth plugins and or any track that you have on your DAW, it has an input gain too. However, if you don't put it on there, then you have to control it from the plugin, the actual plugin. So like on the Apeshit plugin, there's a volume knob, which is basically, it's essentially the gain. So if you turn that down, you're starting the gain stage when you do that. If you're using a plugin that doesn't have a gain knob on there or a volume knob, which is usually going to act as a gain, an input gain for you for that track channel, then you want to put a gain on yourself, right? You want to use like a free gain plugin. You can Google a free gain plugin. Most DAWs already have them. Logic has one. It's called Gain. You go into the utilities and you add a gain. That should be the first plugin on every channel. So step number 2, make sure you're starting your mix with the proper input levels, right? So with that gain knob that you put on there, on your channel strip, that should be the first one before you put any other effects, because you don't want to feed the effects, your effects plugins, your EQs and compressors, a distorted signal, right? You want to feed it a clean signal. So the gain knob is essential for putting that first, or the gain plugin is essential for being first in the line of your channel strip. So once you do that, you want to, depending on what sound it is, a bass, a kick, a melodic sound, you want to put it between -6 and -10. I've even gone as far as negative 12 dB, depending on how crazy the sound was. That's going to help you get the headroom and start feeding the plugins a cleaner signal so that that gives them room to work and do their magic. If not, the sound is going to be too distorted and your plugins are going to be fighting to work and they're not going to work properly. So make sure that you start off with the proper levels before you even begin touching the output fader and all of that. It's all about where your input gain is at first. Get that right first. Step number 3. Use a meter plugin. I use a VU meter plugin to see what's going on with the levels. I do trust my ears. You should trust your ears too, but you also got to understand that this is a science and it's not just about the artistic aspect. It's an artistic science. So the science aspect is looking at what's going on, not just going by your ears. Your eyes help you with mixing too. They should be working together. So make sure that you put a VU meter on there so that you can see what level each instrument is at. You could put it on the stereo master bus, the master stereo bus, and look at what, solo each instrument to see what level it's hitting at. That's going to help you right there. That alone is going to help you get a better start at your mixes. You have to start here. I know that we want to start putting effects first. We want to put the compressors and EQs on. But to be truthful, once you do this, the gain staging aspect of it helps the limiters, compressors, and EQs work a lot better. So you're already starting off on a good foot. Everything's going to start sounding clean from there. But this is the first thing that you need to do before you even start thinking of mixing or what you think you're doing with the mixing. If you ain't did this, you ain't even started mixing yet, for real. You're just playing around. Make sure you get your levels right by gain staging first. And I hope these 3 steps really help you understand where you need to go with it. So before you drop another EQ or a compressor on your beat, fix your gain staging and watch how much room you open up for your music and how much cleaner it's going to sound when you do that. Believe me, it's going to make your mixes sound day and night just from doing this alone. And also, just a bonus tip, when you dial everything down, let's say you want to look at your master fader too and look at where that's at, right? Most of the time when we finish a beat, it's already peaking at, over 0 dB, which is rule number 1. You shouldn't be going over 0 dB at all. So if it's over 0 dB and it's at like, +2 or +5, depending on how crazy you went on the beat and how loud you put everything, that's going to determine how much headroom you've eaten up and how much the compressors and EQs are really going to be able to work. But once you dial it down, you want to see it like probably before you even add any effects, you want the master bus, the master stereo bus to be at like a -6. I put mine, I like mine at like a -6. Sometimes you could do -5. But what that's going to do is it's going to give you room to boost everything else back up using the compressors and the EQs, right? So when you're trying to boost that kick or that bass to give it more body, you're eating up headroom automatically. And if you don't have it because your beat's at +2, +5, that's where the mud's going to start coming in. But if you dial it down and you're already at a -6, then you're going to have 2-3 dB to kind of push a little bit more and get that bass and that kick really, really up there the way you want to in the right pocket. Sometimes I go a little, more, sometimes -8. It just depends on how much I want to push, how much headroom I need to push the sound. And that's where the magic happens at, because now you have the room to use the plugins the way that they are intended to be used, right? Like I said, ever since we've been in the box, a lot of producers have ran into this problem because they didn't ever have to really deal with the gain. If you don't have a mixer and you don't have sounds going in and they're just in the box already, you're not even thinking of an input. You're thinking of output because you're already in the box with it. But trust me, gain staging is your friend. It's going to help your mixes shine and it's going to step up your mixing game. I hope this video helped you. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know that this video helped you. Also, make sure you network with all the other producers in the comments too. This is our community, man. This is what we're building here with these videos. We're bringing the community out. I hope these inspire you and motivate you to make the changes that you need to make to get your mixes and beats banging, okay? Also, if you haven't watched this video yet, make sure you watch it. I'm showing you exactly how your mixes are killing your beats. I go into a little bit more detail as well and drop a few more tips. So if you like this video, you definitely want to check that one out. Okay? Peace, love, and beats.